Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope every one of you are doing well. So let me first adjust the focus and resolution. Okay, so the topic that we are going to discuss today is multiplying or dividing any number by powers of 10. Okay, so what do we understand by the term power of 10, right? Power of 10. What do we understand by it, right? Suppose if I write 10 to the power 1, it basically means 10, because whenever we are applying power 1 to any number, it gives us back the same number, right? So 10 to the power 1 can be written as 10. If I write 10 to the power 2, which is 10 square, it is basically, if I want to expand it, it means 10 into 10, which gives me 100. If I write 10 cube, it is 10 into 10 into 10, that means 10 multiplied thrice, and it gives me 1000. If I write 10 to the power 4, so I'm multiplying 10 4 times, and it gives me 10,000. So this goes on like this, right? So these are called the powers of 10, right? So this is the expanded form, and after this is the basic numeral. Basic numeral means whenever I'm expanding a power and writing it in simple form, that is called the basic numeral. Okay, now there is another power we already learned about it, that is called negative exponents or negative powers, right? So negative powers is something like this. 10 to the power minus 1 means 1 by 10. 1 by 10 to the power 1 basically, which is 1 by 10. 10 to the power minus 2 is 1 by 10 square, so it is 1 by 100. So it is just the inverse of it. 10 to the power minus 3 is 1 by 10 cube, which is 1 by 1000, and this goes on like this. Now the topic is we need to multiply and divide any number. These numbers include integers or decimals. So multiplying or dividing a whole number or a decimal number by powers of 10. And how do we do it? Before that, another thing that we need to learn, that is called conversion from negative powers to decimals. So negative power to decimal conversion, we need to learn it, and we need to understand how it works. Suppose I'm writing 10 to the power minus 2, right? So first, what do I need to do if I want to transform it into a decimal number? First, I need to transform it to a fraction. So 10 to the power minus 2 is basically 1 by 10 square, which is 1 by 100. Now if I want to transform this fraction into a decimal number, and in our previous classes and even in the primary years of our education, we have already learned that if we want to multiply or divide any number, whole number or a decimal number, with 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, there is a shortcut way of doing it, and that is, if we are dividing any number with 10, 100 or 1000, these kind of numbers, we will just count the number of zeros, right? So if we are multiplying, let me write it in let's do the multiplication first. So suppose if I'm multiplying 2 with 100, what I basically do is I just add, as this is the whole number, I just add 2 zeros at the right of 2, right? So this is 200. Now what if I multiply a decimal number with 100? What happens is this decimal place will go 2 places to the right? So if a decimal place is moving to the right, that means the value is increasing, and how much I will move it to the right depending on the number of zeros I have. So in case of 100, I have 2 zeros, so this decimal place will move 2 places. So it will go from here to here, right, 1 place, but it needs to go further another place, but I have no digits to fill that gap it has created. So what I will do is I will put a 0 to fill that gap, and then I can point this place this decimal point here, and after this I can write a 0, but this point and 0 carries no value. So after a whole number, there is always a decimal point which is invisible because we don't need to write it because it carries no value. So this is basically 220, no matter how many zeros I put after the decimal point here, right? So this is what happens. Now in terms of division, the operation is reverse. Instead of going to the right, the decimal place will move to the left. And how many places it will move to the left? Depending on the number of zeros I have. So 1 is basically a whole number here. I have 2 zeros here, so basically there is a decimal point here and it will move 2 places to the left. So if I move it from here to here, I have moved it 1 place, and now it needs to move to another place. So there is a gap in between, right? Because I have only 1 digit, but the decimal point needs to go 2 places to the left. So I'll fill that gap with another 0. So 0, 1. Now the decimal place, if it was here, it went from here to here and then here. Now I put this decimal point here, right? Let's do another example. 10 to the power minus 3. So 1 by 10 cubed, which is 1 by 1000. And now what happens is, I would suggest you to pause the video and think about this math. How are you going to solve it? So I have 3 zeros here, so the decimal point from here will move 3 places to the left, right? But I have only 1 digit, sorry. It needs to move 3 places. I have 1 digit, so there is 2 vacant spaces, and I need to fill that vacant spaces with zeros. So write 2 zeros first and then the number, and then in the extreme left place the decimal point, right? This is what happens now. So why do we need to do it? Because the topic is multiplying or dividing any number by power of 10. So let's start off with the examples. So let's do some examples. Okay, suppose if I'm multiplying a whole number with a positive power, 10 squared, right? How do I do it? First, expand the power to a basic numeral. So it is 7 into 10 squared basically means 10 into 10, which is 100. 7 into 100, and it gives us 700, right? Now if I want to multiply a decimal number with the same positive power, how do I do it? 7.5, and then multiply it by 10 square, expanding it. If I want to write it in a basic numeral, 10 squares gives us 100. Now how do I do it? I have a decimal point here, so as I'm multiplying it with 100, the decimal place will go, as there are 2 zeros here, the decimal place will move 2 places to the right. So it can only go 1 place here because I have 1 digit, but in order to move it to 2 places, there is a vacant space. I need to fill that up with a 0. So 75. So from point, this decimal point from here, move to 1 place, and it needs to move to another place, but there is a vacant, so I will fill that up with a 0. And after that I can place the decimal point, or even I don't, it's the same thing, because after a whole number, as 750 is a whole number, decimal point after any whole number carries no value, so it gives us back 750. Now I'm doing the same operation with negative exponents. So first, whole number multiplying with a negative exponent. So how do I do it? 7 into, I need to transform it into a fraction. So 10 inverse 2 basically gives us 1 by 10 square. If I further simplify it, 7 into 1 by 100. And whenever I'm multiplying a fraction with a whole number, let's just multiply the numerator with the whole number. So 7 into 1 basically gives us 7, and in the denominator I have 100, right? Now how do I do it? I'm dividing a whole number with 100, so the decimal place from here will go 2 places to the left, as there are 2 zeros. So I have only 1 digit here, so a vacant space, fill that up with 0, write the 7, and at the extreme left put the decimal point, right? Now with a decimal number, same number, 7.5, multiply with 10 to the power minus 2, same thing, write 7.5, transform this into a fraction. 1 by 10 square is basically 1 by 100. Now multiply the numerator with this number here, so 7.5 into 1 gives us 7.5, and now divide it with 100. Now what happens is, Same thing, dividing with 100, so the decimal point will go 2 places to the left. So it is already in between 7 and 5, it will go 2 places. So from here to here, 1 place and another place, but there is a gap. So I'll fill that up with a 0, write the rest 2 digits, 7, 5, and the decimal point in the extreme left. So it gives us back this answer, right? So basically these are the answers, right? So I have multiplied a whole number and a decimal number with positive exponents. I have multiplied a whole number and a decimal number with negative exponents, right? So this is the whole point of doing this topic, that multiplying and dividing any number by powers of 10, and that powers of 10 can be both positive or a negative, right? Guys, I hope this video finds you well and helped you learn this topic. Stay safe and good luck everyone. Take care.